Hi, good morning. My name is Mike Lockey. I'm the Director of Management Services at American Management Services.
And my name is Brad Sullivan. I'm a Senior Executive Analyst with American Management Services.
And today we're going to spend some time talking about the construction industry. How's that sound?
Sounds perfect.
Excellent.
So as we think about what's been going on in the world, whether it's supply chain, whether it's recovery from the pandemic, with the clients that we meet on a daily basis in the construction and world, Michael, what are you and your team seeing happening out in the world today?
Well, I think what happens in the construction industry is no different than what we see with a lot of our clients, manufacturers, distributors, retailers. Fundamentally, when we walk into a client, they're not ready or prepped. Everything's a fire. Everything's burning. It's what's happening today, not what's happening, through the course of the next week, month, quarter, year. No plan. And as you know, we predicate our programs on profitability first. And if you don't have a plan and you don't clearly communicate that plan and you don't hold people to those standards of accountability, then you're going to suffer.
Right.
So
we're always hearing owners telling us they're constantly working in the business and not working on the business, not taking the time to plan and execute against a plan.
Yeah. So I had a similar question for you. When you walk in to do your analytical work, what are some of the problems that you hear about with our contracting?
So again, with almost any industry, but in particular with contracting, it's that input, throughput, and output process. So on the input side, how are we finding our customers? How are we bidding and estimating our jobs? What processes are being followed? How well do we follow that plan? So one of the big topics we're experiencing with many of our clients right now is with the supply chain problems, with the cost of materials rising. They got trapped in contracts, in bids that they won, where they bid them based upon the expected or known costs at that time. And of course, as those costs have risen, they're trapped. They're expected to execute the work they won based on the bid and the contract they signed, and yet their expenses are far greater than they expected them to be. So my role in trying to identify and quantify issues, that's been one of those things that we've been running into. In your world, trying to remedy those problems, what would you tell a business owner they should be doing in that circumstance?
Yeah, I think the funny thing is I'm a firm believer in there are things that are in your control and things that are without your control. So you read in the papers or you read things online about ships sitting off the coast of the U.S. with full of cargo containers, and shortages of that, lack of truck drivers to get things from point A to point B, and the economy, inflation, all those things. And whenever I hear one of our business owners talk about that, and not just contracting, but across the board, my answer to that is always the same. You can't control any of that. What you can control is what happens within your four walls. So now back to your specific question, one of the things that we see a lot of is a lot of the business owners don't have, they're not even aware of what's in the contracts with their contracting clients. And if you're dealing with a big GC, for instance, sometimes terms are dictated to you, or I should say, our owners accept the terms that are dictated to them without pushing back or without fighting it. Why? Because it's a high-profile job for them, and we're going to take it.
And we're trying to keep our people busy.
Right, exactly. All those things that come along with it. I recall a couple clients within the contracting industry that we really did a very thorough review of their contracts, and we found that they didn't have things like escalation clauses or validity dates. And
tell me more about what an escalation clause
is.
So
escalation clause. I bid the contract using a material cost of X, but now X, when I went and got that quote, it was X. Now it's Y, and Y is bigger than X. Gotcha. So there was an escalation in the price of that material, which if you don't schedule that properly in your contract, you're at risk for. the contractor's sole at risk. And we believe in that cost should be passed through or shared in some meaningful manner, but you can't do that after the fact. You got to do it before. So if you don't have escalation in your contract and that's not made apparent, and you sign on the dotted line, guess what? In a time, particularly now when there's prices are rising, and they're rising at a rate that we hadn't seen since the early 80s. You're at risk for that.
Yeah, and the volatility. We watched the lumber prices skyrocket, come back down, and now who knows where they're going to go.
Totally.
So we're putting these contracts out, the length of the term, how far out are we planning that backlog, that sort of thing.
So validity, because I know that's your next question. Validity is I was able to go secure a price for X number of days or months or whatever from my supplier. In other words, the supplier guarantees I can give you this cost for 30 days, let's say. So your validity should match that validity. So after 30 days, this cost is no longer good because that price is going to get refreshed to me, which means it's going to get refreshed for you. So just those are two simple things that we see. There's probably some more that we can do there, but I think the bigger picture on that one is know what's in your contract, know what you're at risk for, and know what you're not. And if you feel like you're highly exposed to the risk of those prices increasing, and we're in a time of inflation, so you should feel that way, then I think it's very pertinent to go back and negotiate that out with your clients. Now we've had to do it after the fact, and that's very difficult. Sure. What we're advising is you do it before the fact. Make sure that these things are in your contract so that when you sign something new, it's already built into that.
So the material side, things we can control, things we can't control, how do we manage that? We talked about that. Again, the next piece then is our labor, right? Yeah. We've got to perform the work. Running into nearly every client in every industry, but construction in particular, finding qualified people who are able to work that we can not only hire, but we can train and we can retain. Constantly a challenge.
So let me ask you a question on that. Again, because you're looking at it from the analytical side. What are the problems, and then what are the costs of those problems? And I look at it from the fix. How do we fix that side? Again, what do business owners tell you when you're walking in about labor and those things?
Exactly. So
it's always short, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So we're hearing again almost the same thing from everywhere we go. It's the people aren't out there. The government's paid people to stay home. Even with some of those programs ending, people have gotten used to making by with less. They're waiting for the next handout, on and on and on and on and on. All of those things were and may still be true. Mm-hmm. We can't argue that. But the reality is there are folks out there that are working in everybody's industry. So the question that we always ask is, got it, I hear you, I believe you. But there are people in your industry, construction, who are working. And they're working for somebody. And the question that we always ask, and it's a tough one to ask, but the reality is why are those people working for your competitor? Why aren't they working for you? When they sit next to their peer group, whether that's in a church, in a synagogue, in a bar, at home, wherever they're going after work, and they're talking about their job and working at the XYZ Corporation, what are they saying? Are they recruiting for you? Or are they asking their friends, hey, tell me about where you work. What's going on where you're working? Should I be looking to go work where you work? So one of the questions we're always asking our clients is, what are you doing to make your environment where people want to work? Whether it's comp, whether it's benefits, whether it's a pay-for-performance program, whether it's something that entices people to come, that provides greater opportunity for them, but only when it benefits the company and when it benefits the owner as well.
Yeah. So the word that I would put to kind of wrap that up is what differentiates you from anyone else, and that's the word that we use when consultants are in trying to fix this problem. And what I found, and I'm sure you've seen this as well, is recruiting only occurs when there's the need. And the need is usually established when your manager or some important person walks and knocks on your door and says, you know what, if you don't pay me an extra $3 an hour, I'm going to go over to your competition. I was offered this, I'm out the door unless. So I kind of liken that to blackmail. they're blackmailing you into keeping it. If you want me, then pay me more. And I think the solution to that problem is very simple. I agree 110%. There's people out there if you're looking to find them, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to find those people. And I think, in short, what that really means is if you're not dedicating a significant amount of your time to finding those people, then you're never going to have them. And so in the construction industry, to me, the revolving door is the laborers. It's the guys that actually are out there swinging the hammers, or shoveling the dirt, or running the piece of equipment, or whatever. And if you know that that's the revolving door for you, why would you ever stop looking for those people? Because you just never know when that door is, when someone's going to knock on your door. And I always recommended that even if you're not hiring somebody specifically, or you don't have the need specifically, you should always keep a posting out there for a couple reasons. One, you never know when that rock star is going to come your way. The guy that everybody wants, or on paper at least looks very good and attractive, whether you need him or not. Or two, you never know when that door is going to knock. So if I had a stable backlog of resumes in my pocket, even if I'm not looking, then it becomes less tedious. You're not starting at square one, you're starting at square five, and you already have people that you can dial. Now, if you keep a stack of resumes, they may not all be looking at that time, but at least you have a starting point that you can start calling, instead of saying, now I got to post it, and your hair's on fire and everything's angst at that point.
Excellent.
So I think dedicating a lot of time to that process will yield big results for you. I can tell you, me personally, and this has nothing to do with construction, but me personally, I probably spend at least an hour a day going through resumes of consultants. Not necessarily because I need them, but I'm always looking to upgrade who I have and what I have. And again, you never know who that next person is. I always keep a couple people in the pipeline. I always keep the kind of things moving forward on that. And look, if comes out that I got somebody that's good, but I'm not quite ready, then I slow it down, and I stay in touch with those people and let them know, hey, realistically, I want to bring you on, but we need a little bit more time. Same things with those people. I mean, how many people have you recruited that said, hey, you know what, great, I want to come on board. I need 4 weeks to make this happen. And again, if everything's angst to you, if everything's done at the last minute or without a semblance of a process, then that 4 weeks could be catastrophic to you if you have the need today. So don't put yourself in that situation.
So keeping on somewhat that topic, actually the solution that you're talking about, you're really talking about establishing relationships with people and maintaining those relationships. So when you need them, you can go to them. Michael, as I've listened to your comments and how we've worked with our clients over the years, it really sounds like it's establishing that plan up front for how we want to execute from the input, throughput, and output standpoint, how we develop that plan and then execute against it.
Yeah, I think in closing, and look, this isn't a construction industry thing. This is all of our clients thing, regardless of the industry that you're in. But we predicate our programs on 2 things: predetermined profit, a guaranteed return for the time, energy, investment you make in your company. You should get rewarded for that. And then you'll love this: closed loop management.
There we go.
The process that ensures that we're moving things and the resources are allocated to get you that return on investment. And I would say that holds true for any client that we deal with.
I concur. Thank you, Michael.
All right, thank you.